Welcome to episode 1 of How to Be Relevant. This episode we're going to cover drive-ins, but to understand how they stay relevant, we must look at the past and see where they went wrong. The first drive-in was created in Camden, New Jersey in June 1933, which was filled with about 400 cars in a semicircular orientation and was designed and built by Howard E. Hall. By 1945, the amount of drive-ins had only grown to about 20, but by 1948, it had grown to about 800. This sudden rise was due to the beginning of suburbanization just after World War II. During its peak in the 1950s, it had grown to over 4,000 plus. But by the 1970s, a growing need for land and lower attendance rates saw a lot of owners selling to developers to build more homes for the growing suburbanization population. By the 1980s, drive-ins became few and far between. This had to do with the love of cars going away, mixed with the fuel crisis in the 1980s and the emergence of smaller, compact cars. Drive-ins were forced to close or face losing massive amounts of money. As of 2015, according to Mark Fox, only 350 drive-ins still remain, with that number generally decreasing every year. In New Hampshire alone, there are only 2 drive-ins still remaining. But I had the pleasure of speaking with one of the owners of the Milford Drive-In, that's just down the street from where I live.
My name is Barry Charmette, and I'm one of the owners of the Milford Drive-In Theater. It is a family business. My parents originally bought it back in 1969, and we've been running it since. One of the things that we've been looking for in the future is doing alternative content. And what we look at in this day and age with all different media sources is number one is families, and number 2 is how to attract other people to not only families but also couples to a business, because that's a big source of our revenue. So what we've been looking for is something different other than movies. A couple of years ago, I was told about an opportunity through Fathom Events. I contacted them and they put a dish on my roof so I can get alternative content into my facility. It was roughly, I think it was 2015, that was the first showing of a live content that we had never done before. Matter of fact, there was only 2 drive-ins in the country that actually participated in it. And what we did is we did a live showing it was supposed to be the last showing of the Grateful Dead. It was live in Chicago. I've had other concerts that weren't live. This summer I did a Pearl Jam concert. I also did a couple other Grateful Dead shows. I also did 2 fights. I did the Canelo-Govekin fight, and I also did the Mayweather McGregor fight, and those were live. So that's why I'm trying to do different things other than just show movies all summer long. For us, it's basically the internet. The internet has been huge for us, especially Facebook. Everything to me is social media, and that's where it is. And Facebook, for me, my site has gone from 0 to, I think I'm around 25, 26, maybe 27,000 people in about 4 years, which is pretty significant. And that's what people are using to see what we're doing. We double feature. On both screens there are 2 features, two movies on each screen per night when we're showing. We've always been a family business, so we tend to get a tremendous amount of families in there. You have babies on up to grandparents, so we don't see a big change in that. What we do get is I get a tremendous amount of teenagers and college kids once they get out of school, but it just depends upon the movie also. That's the movie itself is going to dictate the demographics. To do my plans is in the future, we're possibly looking at opening up sooner and possibly running later in the season. The other thing is to do more alternative content. And the reason I'm saying that is because the movie industry really, and I don't know if you've seen it, but it's changing. Whereas a lot of movies are dictated by when they can get into IMAX, meaning that when they will come out. So a lot of movies are now that would come out during the summertime are coming out in February, March, April, and those are the bigger movies. In the past, years ago, you didn't have the big movies coming out then. You used to have the blockbusters June, July, and August when the kids were out of summer. Now it really doesn't matter. So the sooner that I can get open, because I know this coming March, there are several big movies coming up, March, April, in that vicinity. I've got to get open as soon as I can. But I can't put a time frame on it because everything for me is dictated by what's on the ground. And if there's snow on the ground, I can't open. Well, this coming summer will be our 50th anniversary. We're putting together plans now for a celebration. We're not exactly sure what weekend we're going to be doing it, but it'll be, my father's 50th anniversary that he's owned the theater. So this is a big one for us this coming summer.
What we should take away from Barry is that we should be doing more things at drive-ins than just movies. Like hosting events like Barry did with the Grateful Dead. Alongside of that, we should be more active on social media and engage in community, but also knowing your demographic and using that to your advantage. So that's how you're going to stay relevant in a dying market. Who knows, drive-ins can make a resurgence, but we'll just have to wait and see.